I am proud of my country's heritage. We're living on freedom soil. Brave men have gone before me here, unafraid to pray and toil.
So we looked at the ratification letters very briefly. We'll go through them in much greater detail. You have to start to ask, why weren't we taught these things? And realize that you weren't, that they actually did come from the people, and they're short in terms of the first 10 amendments. They're not in length anywhere close to the proposed Constitution, but they're the fix. Okay, they're what the people came up with to fix the problems that were in the proposed Constitution, and we'll go through that because it's still written. You can read it. I'll show them to you. There's one other document, though, I want to show you before we go on and go through the ratification letters, go through how we actually got all this stuff. We'll go through it line by line. We know our preamble to the Constitution. And what I'm going to show you is the preamble to the Bill of Rights. Again, something you're not taught, you're not shown. I actually saw a place where I went online to look at the preamble, and they had left out the crucial parts because it gives the purpose of the Constitution and the means do. In other words, the means is the Constitution, but what is the Constitution doing to achieve the purpose? First, let's go, we the people, our preamble to our Constitution was written by the folks who came up with the proposed Constitution. It was sent out with the proposed Constitution, and then they went ahead, and when the people ratified that, they ratified the whole thing, that became really the purpose of the people. And a lot of these ideas you're going to have to work into your head because they'll come out contradictory to some of the things you've been taught, but you have to see them. It's we the people and of the United States. Okay, that's how it begins. In order to form a more perfect union, there are three functioning parts of our government, legitimately. And they're stated in the 10th Amendment. They are the United States, which is the name of the government. This name was in the first three drafts of the proposed Constitution, and that is that the form, okay, will be the United States, and that's the name of the country. It was also in the Articles of Confederation written. I'll pull those up sometime or give you a place where you can find them. We the people, there's the United States, which is, I guess, the national central government. We don't really have a central government. It's a federal government, but a federal government includes the states, but also it includes the people in this case. You have to understand our government's made up of three parts. The government in Washington, okay, the government of the United States, the state governments, okay, which are working in conjunction with that government of the United States and a federal government, and the people. And again, this is unique, but it's government of the people, by the people, for the people. Three parts. We, the people of the United States, the people of the government, okay, we, all of the people in all of the states united, okay, in order to form a more perfect union. Well, more perfect than what? What are we forming a union more perfect than? What they had in Europe? We were functioning under the Articles of Confederation. Since 1777, we functioned under the Articles of Confederation. They were ratified in 1781 and then replaced in 1787. And the folks who were actually sent to modify those articles, and they went and made a new constitution. We'll get into that more. The more perfect union is more perfect than what we were under, which is the Articles of Confederation, established justice, and justice is every citizen will have the right to know that your life, your liberty, and your property, we will not allow that to be stolen, to be killed, or destroyed. Okay, that is the agreement of citizenship, and whatever laws are necessary in functioning, making that into a functioning thing, that's its basis. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Now, when you get to this domestic tranquility, it's the internal. We don't want to have the states fighting each other like Michigan and Ohio actually going to war over Toledo or that corner of the state, and which they did. But we're trying to prevent that. That's what we're saying here. And provide for the common defense. If somebody attacks New York, we will all come and fight together against whoever that is. You know, if the Canadians come down, then we'll fight them, you know. And if the Bahamas decides to attack Georgia, then we will come down and defend Georgia. You got to watch out for these folks. Promote the general welfare. This is kind of funny. The word welfare is used so much differently at this time. It means your ability with your hands and your mind to have your business, have your farm, have your shop, your store, whatever, and you can then be prosperous, you can be successful. And that's what we promote. The individuals, okay, people can be successful in running their business, in minding their own business, and then profit from that. That's what welfare means. Absolutely, under no circumstances does welfare mean that government would at any point give anything to anyone. That at this time, completely an opposite and definitely not the heart of this word welfare. We're promoting that people can come to this country and do well as they use their hands and their minds and secure, okay, the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. Okay? The purpose of the people in ordaining and establishing that. This is the purpose of we the people. It's not the jobs of government per se. It's our purposes in establishing the Constitution. Now, is there a written purpose of the Constitution, what it does? And there is. There is. You were also not taught this. The purpose of the Constitution is written in preamble to our Bill of Rights. There is a preamble to our Bill of Rights, and in this, and this is the other document you have to see, the ratification letters, don't want you to know those, and they don't want you to know the preamble of the Bill of Rights because it states clearly that we're restricting the government. So, 10th Amendment and the 9th Amendments, the ratification letters, and then this introduction are things that they simply don't want anybody to know. So here we've got, it says Congress of the United States, begun and held at the city of New York on Wednesday, the 4th of March, 1789. And they'll tell you, well, that's all this is for, is just to tell you the date. No, it's not. You're going to see what it's for here. The convention of a number of states, conventions of a number of states. These are the ratification conventions from which we got the ratification letters, okay? That's what they are, and that's what it's talking about here. The ratification letters which you weren't taught. A number of states having at the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction and abuse of its powers, okay? Constitution, context here is Constitution. What they're doing, what they want to do, is prevent misconstruction and abuse of the powers of what? The Constitution. What are the powers of the Constitution? The Constitution gives the powers, okay, that we're going to vest in the government. That's what it does. It says here that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added. This is what the Constitution does. The Constitution declares just what the government can do. Remember those words: clearly, particularly, expressly. That's it. And the Constitution then restricts, Ninth Amendment, them to only that. We'll go through next the Ninth and 10th Amendment so you can see them. They are defined in the ratification letters. The ratification letters, where they came from, and in the ratification letters, they define clearly what they meant. Okay, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government. We're starting a new government, and people are pretty concerned. They were supposed to just modify the Articles of Confederation. Pretty shaky here. They want to shore this up. They want to get that base down. And so we're going to make sure, and there are people who want to have a second constitutional convention. This could be a big problem, and people understand that. They're trying to extend the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent starts of its institution. We want this government to work, and they did. And they're functionally trying to make it work. There's all kinds of things they're dealing with here. This is the purpose of the Constitution. And this word further, what's that mean? What does further mean? In this context, what's further mean? This is coming out of these ratification letters, the ratification of the proposed Constitution. The further is dealing with that proposed, we're going to go further. There is declaration. The Constitution, the proposed Constitution, declares what the government can do. Okay? Congress, okay, shall do this. Vested powers. The president shall do this. Vested powers. The judges shall do this. Vested powers. Okay? All of these things, how the government's going to function, right there in that proposed Constitution. Now, we're going further in declaring and restricting. And that's the first 10th Amendment. And the key and heart of that is the 9th and 10th Amendment. This is the other document. You need to go through this, read it, learn it, think about it. We'll go on with this.
Yes, our God still bears his mighty arm when men to him are loyal. Yes, our God still bears his mighty arm when men to